So here we have Mr. Jim Lehman's awesome plane. We're gonna go talk to him and find out a little bit of aviation. What's going on, Mr. Jim?
Oh, I'm putting it back together after annual.
Annual inspection, boys. All right.
Every year, whether you want to or not, annual inspection.
Said it from the man himself.
Oh gosh, this is horrible.
So, when did you start flying?
In college, I always wanted to fly. And in college, my dad would send me money for food
Mm-hmm.
and, things like laundry and essentials.
Right.
And I found an airport that had a cheaper airplane, so I started taking flying lessons and using all my money at the airport instead of the other stuff.
Nice.
It was good for weight control. I learned how to iron my own shirts, so it worked out really great.
That's pretty great. What is a little bit of your aviation experience?
I soloed in college in a really old tail dragger, and then I went in the Navy, and I was about halfway through with Navy flight school. My big disappointment in life was it was the end of a war, and they told us all, go find something else to do. And in my case, I became a Navy intelligence officer instead of a Navy pilot. But I had quite a number of hours, and I went over and got my private license at a local airport.
Nice. What is your favorite part about flying?
Flying.
Flying itself? Yeah, I mean, that seems pretty fun. Get to go around in this awesome plane of yours. What is your least favorite thing about flying?
Bad weather.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that wouldn't be very fun to fly in some sleet.
Yeah. I mean, this is an old airplane. It's basically you got to see where you're going to get there. And, it's awesome. You come out here early in the morning and take off and just go someplace, and it's smooth and it's quiet and you're by yourself and nobody's harassing you except for maybe air traffic control. And it's great. It's wonderful.
That sounds fun. What is like the worst weather condition you have ever flown in?
Some horrible thunderstorms when I lived in South Florida.
Nice. All right. So could you tell us a little bit about the plane you're working on right now?
This is a 1949 Cessna 170, if you care.
I do.
It's the first all-metal airplane that Cessna built. Before that, they didn't know how to build metal airplanes. It was a fabric wing in metal. And I've had it for longer than you've been on this earth. And when I bought it, it was in really, really bad condition. So my goal was to bring it back to as close to original as possible, and that's what you see that we've got here.
Nice.
So it's pretty close to, except for radios and things like that, it's close to original to 1949.
Huh. Why did you start flying? Like, what was that extra push that made you decide, like, I love planes?
Well, I started building model airplanes when I was about 5. And my bedroom was just full of model airplanes. When I was in elementary school, I used to take the back seat because we didn't have air conditioning in the rooms, and we had these windows that would come down, and I can remember sitting in my desk and opening the window down over my head and playing like I was a fighter pilot while the teacher was teaching.
That's awesome.
Obviously my grades suffered a lot, but it was still fun.
It's all about the love of flying.
It is.
If you could change one thing about aviation, what would it be and why?
There's a proposal now to change the medical requirements, and I think that will go a long way to help in aviation. Not to lower the medical requirements, but just to change the requirements for an annual flight physical.
Would you give me like a brief description on what like the actual qualifications are for that?
Well, right now you can fly an airplane smaller than this one,
Mm-hmm.
without going through an FAA physical. When you get into airplanes like this, you still have to have an annual physical, but the proposal that's up today is to allow us to fly this airplane in good weather without having to go through the hassle of the physical. And there's never been any accidents to prove that medical condition had anything to do with this type of flying. So
Okay.
I think it's probably a good proposal.
Sounds like it. As far as like an FAA physical, is it like much different from like just like a regular high school sports physical, or is it like?
No, it's a little more advanced. I mean, I was in the Navy and the Navy Reserve for quite a long time, and so every year I took a high-level physical and always passed them. But I just think that because of the expense involved and hassles involved with flying, that if they can do something with the medical, I think it'll enhance the opportunity to fly and fly longer. I mean, obviously I'm not very young, but I'm still pretty capable, and I feel as though I can fly the airplane and not endanger life. That's the big thing.
Definitely. All right. Best flight story ever. Laying it down.
Best
Pat.
flight story ever.
Best flight story ever.
Ooh, can you pause that while we change sides?
Yeah. I'll actually just go around so everyone can see the rest of this plane.
Oh, okay.
So this is the back of it. It's pretty cool. The wings. Engine and propellers.
Well, this isn't the absolute best flight story, but it's a pretty cool one.
All right.
I lived in South Florida for a really, really long time. So my brother came down to visit me and wanted to go to Key West for Fantasy Fest. So I said, well, yeah, we'll just fly to Fantasy Fest. That's no problem. It's a short flight from Fort Lauderdale down to Key West. So we go down, we land at night, we enjoy Fantasy Fest, and the next morning I have to get back to work. So we get up before light. Go out to the airport, get everything ready, we take off, and it is the most beautiful day you've ever seen in your life. I mean, it's just, the sun is coming up, and all of those rays that you talk about are coming through, and the clouds are perfect, and it's absolutely smooth, and there's no traffic. And I look over, and my brother is asleep on the window.
No.
So he missed the entire flight.
Oh my goodness.
But I enjoyed it. It was really a nice flight.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
So it's always fun to go someplace.
Definitely.
And excuse me for looking down all the time.
Oh, no, you're
I'm
fine.
putting this together.
Craziest thing you've ever done in a plane?
Craziest.
Yeah, we got like a double barrel roll, triple backflip.
Well, yeah. I'm pretty good in an airplane. I don't normally get queasy or sick. But there was this aerobatic instructor. As a matter of fact, it was at this airport.
Mhm.
You might know him. His name is Kiyoki. And he was giving aerobatic instruction. So we went through the aerobatic instruction. I learned how to do, all kinds of really cool stuff. I could fly upside down with no problem whatsoever. I could recover from spins. I could do loops. It was wonderful. On the last day of the course that I took, and I think it was like 5 hours of flight time, which was quite a bit. He said, "Well, is there anything you want to do that you've never done before?" When you go to air shows, you ever see these guys that just go up and then the airplane just starts tumbling and it does all kinds of weird stuff?
Yeah.
Well, stupid me, I said, "Well, let's go tumble." Worst decision I've ever made in my life. It was not a fun ride. First time in an airplane in my entire life I ever felt, ooh, this is not fun. But I'll remember that for a long time.
Definitely. That sounds like a pretty interesting one to remember. And so my final question is, who do you think you look up to in the world of aviation? Like the biggest role model that has affected you, not only to pursue a career in aviation, but just you look up to them and you're like, that was pretty amazing what they did.
Well, it has to be two. I mean, my dad was a aviation cadet in World War II, and really all he wanted to do was fly, but he got caught and it didn't work out. He ended up as a radio operator. So it was kind of like living his dream to go fly. There's an aerobatic pilot by the name of Bob Hoover, who's an older guy, who is just absolutely phenomenal. And probably him because, you know, he's just got a great attitude and he enjoys flying. And the things that he can do with an airplane are just beyond belief.
It's pretty cool.
That's it.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming out here and talking to me.
Well, thank you.